Hey guys, I'm back. This is a box, and although you can't see the front because the shipping label and all is on it, this is the Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month for March. And before I get to opening it, I just want you to know, I need you to know, I just started such a shitstorm because in a private Facebook group of my old military folks, I made the choice to break from the pack and admit that I did not like The Last of Us for many reasons. I never played the game. They're mad at me. I didn't like it. I found a lot wrong with it. Starting with the fact that we have had oral antifungal medications that would have wiped out this thing, that would have treated people, at least since 1998 when I was an Army medic, and believe me, that was not, like, they didn't invent it then. They had it, many, many years before that, but whatever. That was just number one. We can discuss this at length if we want later. I'm using my favorite, this is probably my favorite knife on the planet, because this knife did start this channel, and this comes from, I got two of them from two great viewers, two great supporters of the channel, for new custom projects. I just haven't done it because, you know what, with the crappy state of my lungs and everything going on, I can't be grinding on G10 and stuff right now, or anything for that matter, but I'm going to get to them once we do more doctory, medical-y stuff, and I don't want to get all into it now, but I'm going to get back more into more of the customizing stuff that I want to do. But right now, it's just not an option. So, it's a big old cold steel. I did like when Joel went totally Mando in the hospital. I thought that was ironic. But anyway. So, the Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month is a big-ass cold steel. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Sorry, let me turn it around for you. Maybe I will like it when I open it up. On the outside, I don't like it. It's a giant-ass Tonto. It says Warcraft on it. So this knife, I can tell this is a plastic handle, but it could surprise me. It could. I'm going to take a look at those specs in a minute, but they put it on the box, so I'll show it to you guys. Let's see, what do we have? 4034 stainless. Okay. 15 ounces, 12-inch blade length, 17 overall, 5mm. Okay. Well, they say this has an MSRP of $234.99, and I don't doubt that, because cold steel stuff can be great, but also greatly overpriced now and then at times. It's true. Just the first search result I looked up, that, well, I had to get through a bunch because apparently there's a few different ones of these. There's a San Mai, there's a black G10 handled one. They come in different sizes, but the first one that matches this at Midway USA goes for $144.99, which is actually more than I expected this to go for at all. But that's just the difference in relation to the MSRP. The next one down is a 7.5 inch. It's for $115. So anyway, I wanted to do that before we got into this. Just to chat. And I'm not trying to bash on the Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month. I've gotten some really cool ones from them, but just like with, any Knife of the Month, I mean, from any box, and I mean any of them, all of them. There are all times where I'm looking at the values that they give when they, and they just give an MSRP, and I'm like, really? I get it. That's what the manufacturer suggests that they could charge for it, but then there's the real world of consumerism and pricing. So let's see what we've got. This is a very standard. This sheath has cold steel written all over it. I mean, this is kind of what they do. Secure X. So it's a, I don't want to say soft like it's floppy, but definitely bends. So sometimes I use the words polymer and plastic like they're different, and I say they're different, and that's my manner of speak. Okay, polymers and plastics are in the same family, but when I say a good quality polymer, I'm thinking not like a styrene plastic. You know what I mean? Not a toy quality plastic. So when I talk about, and this is just me, when I talk about polymer versus plastic, when I say plastic, I mean a lower end quality thing, and a good quality polymer has different elements mixed in that give it rigidity and a better feel. And so I understand that comparing plastics and polymers is sometimes a moot point, but this is something where I'd say, like, this is a plastic sheath. I wouldn't consider it a polymer sheath. Now, if you had a real rigid, tough, protective thing, I'd call that a good quality polymer, because they mix other things. I get it that some people are going to be like, that's redundant because plastic polymer. You know, plastic is a polymer, technically, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the difference between a plastic and a good quality polymer, okay? This is like toy quality, you know, as opposed to the kind of tough, rigid, say, a holster that comes for, you get with like, I don't want to compare it to guns, but there are some solid polymer sheaths they're rugged, that are tough. I think now you know what I'm talking about when I compare like a high quality polymer to a cheap plastic sheath, right? Okay. Because this could be made to be rigid and strong and not squeezable, compressible. I'm not trying to shit all over this knife either. It's an opportunity to point some things out. And I just wasted so much time on hold with the VA that I'm in that mood. So, I do good points, okay? I like the way that this secures, because you see that you can add tech locks or anything else you want to this if you want to secure it in a different way. It's got the different attaching areas, but you could unscrew this and you could put this, and you see it's got your loop, and then you could undo that. You could actually adjust this a little bit. Now it has the snap to secure it in its optimal position, according to the company, but you could unscrew this. You could secure it here for more of a horizontal carry if you wanted to be ninja about it. But like, this is way too big for a scout carry across the small of your back, unless you have a very wide back. But you could rig it up as more of this would fit right about there, along your belt, for like, I'm dead serious, or sort of you guys, I don't know what you'd call that style. I'm calling it ninja carry. I don't know the proper name. Somebody in the comments fill it in, but you have options on it. I think adding a tech lock might be the best way to do it. This might look a little odd compared to the rest of the video, because I'm doing this after the fact, because I forgot to do it, and I'm slipping the clip in. But what we didn't do is do a little retention test on this sheath. So you can hear it's a nice positive click in, right? And it holds, and then the snap, this is great, but you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can see it. It's loose. It's loose around the handle there. So really all the retention is in the snap right here, but it seems to hold it pretty decently. So inside, we've got the katana itself. I know it's not really a katana. I have to backtrack and say those things, because I'll get like 3 comments where the guy, especially with a knife called Warcraft, is at the keyboard going, well, actually. So I gotta say, I love the finish on the blade. I absolutely love the finish on the blade. That is a beautiful stonewash finish. That looks high end. Like that tumble, I'm not sure how they do that, like what their process is, but that looks great. That lends an image of really high quality finishing to this thing. And I gotta tell you, the weight and balance on this thing is nice. I went into this looking at it thinking that there's a place here, we call it the Q Mart. It's technically called the Quakertown's Farmers Market. There are like 2 stalls of like farmers market stuff, fruits and vegetables, and the rest is some of the weirdest I cannot describe it. It looks like a whole bunch of stuff that maybe fell off the back of a truck that people are trying to sell before the cops find it, but it's also some of the best food in town, like actual cooked by people of the ethnicity, like the Chinese food is. I don't think those people speak a word of English, but it's the best Chinese food. There's a Puerto Rican place where it's just Spanish being yelled back and forth in the kitchen, and there's a sushi place where it's like actual like Japanese family making sushi. I mean, it's really, the food is incredible there, and they sell some real odds and ends. And of course, there is a cheap Gil Hibben would throw up in his mouth because it's like fantasy sword, but like made of tin and like the worst looking quality, and everything has a dragon on the blade. And you know, this outright looks like something that I would expect sold at that booth, at that little stall over there. It's terrible. It makes gas station knives look like they have someone to look down on. I'm just kind of cleaning the blade off a little bit so we can see, because that finish deserves to be looked at. But when I get my hands on it, it feels pretty solid. I'm still not a fan of this, but there is one made with a black G10 scale, and this could be refit really easily if you wanted to. You could redo this, and this might not be a bad first-time project for somebody if they were looking to do some custom scales, because you have a lot of. This is forgiving to do something big like this. You don't have to worry about inside, like internal, milling out or anything. You could just do 2 slabs, throw it on there, cut them and grind them, and come up with what you want. This would be a very nice first-time project for somebody getting into mods, modification, customization. But the balance on it is pretty nice. And it's hollow ground all along. You do have that big 5mm blade stock, so you've got some toughness there. Assuming that heat treat is all done right, and we're going to assume, because cold steel does a pretty good blade. So let's talk about this big hunk of steel. So 4034, this is actually a European alloy. This is made by Krupp, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. And you guys can check me on that, because I'm not looking it up right now. But I believe that this is the kind of stuff that they put in, not super low end, but kind of middle ground. They use them for some dive knives. They use them for kitchenware, kitchen knives and everything. And it lasts. It's not it's not high end, but it's not the lowest China pot metal garbage either. Holds in edge reasonably well when heat treated right. You're probably looking at a Rockwell score. I cannot remember all the details on this. When it comes to edge retention, so you're not going to chip the edge, but you're going to be resharpening it. You're going to be resharpening this thing. Like I said, it's not real high end. Not the bottom of the barrel, not quite mid, somewhere in lower middle class is what it is. But the point is, it's workable. You're going to be able to maintain this edge, even if you don't have a lot of skill doing it. And that's good too, because you've got a lot of edge to maintain. I don't know what I'd really compare this to. I know that Schrade and I know that Smith & Wesson have. That's where I know the steel from. I know that they have put out some knives with, again, greatly inflated MSRPs made out of this steel. It's somewhere comparable to some of the 420s. You know, not just plain 420, but like, God, I'm really trying to remember stuff now. Maybe a 420 J2, so just like that. Really, very good corrosion resistance, but in terms of the overall quality of the steel compared to the higher end stuff, and that again, it will hold an edge for a little bit, but you're going to have to do maintenance on it. But on the flip side, it's not too hard for you to do maintenance on. So those are kind of qualities you can look at for this guy. It's one of those steels that I know a little bit about from researching other steels and the internet bouncing you back and forth. between them. So yeah, it's not, now that I know, now that I'm kind of looking at it and feeling it, not the worst thing to have out there, because I would rather, and this is me thinking, and I'm thinking not of the, I'm going middle ground. I'm going, we do statistics, we have, the bell curve. I'm thinking middle of the bell curve, not the most, the least knowledgeable who doesn't know anything, and not the expert on the other end. I'm thinking most people. Out there in the woods somewhere or doing stuff. It's not a bad seal for people who have just enough knowledge to get by, just enough skill to get by, to deal with this, and use it, keep the edge maintained where it needs to be, not have to worry a whole lot about higher end maintenance and stuff. If they can wipe the blade down, they're not going to have to worry about any corrosion. That's all. Like, at the end of the day, just wipe it down, and the chromium content will take care of the rest. The little bit of carbon in here will help give you that little bit of what's holding your edge the way it is. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too far into it, but I'm trying to think real critically about it. I'm trying to think away from my immediate repulsion to this, because I don't know. So did I do a good job? Did I do a good job balancing my automatic instinct to not like this and then put some logic into it? I hope I did. But again, it is a comfortable handle, and the leverage factor feels good on it. I'm just not a big fan of Tanto blades. Are you going to be penetrating, armor plates on somebody? Because that's really what a Tanto is for. It's for a penetrating power up at the top. I mean, you can stab through fuel cans in your spare time if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I don't find it the most practical, useful blade shape out there in the world. I don't know, but this definitely feels like it would have enough power to do a lot of your outdoor stuff, chopping wood. You could split with this. You've got enough heft, weight, and stability in the spine here that once you get there, you want a baton on top of this thing, it'll take it. Take it, dirty girl. Take it. Yeah. So, of course, and I am surprised at how well finished this thing is right out of the box. I was not expecting that. I really wasn't. I thought that maybe it would need a little bit more. Now, of course, if we really want to be thorough, we have to test every point along this belly here, and I'm just not going to do that right now because I have better things to do with my time. Look at that. It'll pew mostly, and it's a little hard to get a good pew with your point of leverage all the way down there, and then transferring it. But you see, perfectly clean cuts. So it does come out of the box finished well. We've got that going for us. I am not going to do, I'll tell you why I'm not going to do the standard test. It's just awkward for, again, leverage wise, to put a piece of cord over here and then do it. I believe it'll do it. I believe it'll do well based on other performance. I just don't want to, it's just kind of an awkward thing. Maybe when I'm a little less of a puss and it's a little warmer outside, I'll do a follow-up outside of it. But it would not be my primary. I would not, bet the farm on this thing. But I could keep it in the inventory. Or, on the side note, maybe I keep better stuff as my actual going out and doing stuff blade. And this is just, in the backyard, utility kind of stuff. Making some firewood for the fire pit. Or just brush kind of stuff around the house. I could see it being useful for that. A little expensive for just stuff like that, but if you got it in, well, I forgot how much the subscription costs, to tell you the truth. I don't know. See, they say They say this is flat ground. I don't know. It feels a little hollow to me. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. And then they say a chisel. I don't see a chisel ground at all because nothing is flat on the other side. But it absolutely would not be my first choice to take anywhere. But having it now, like in the lineup, I could think of some tasks I would use it for. And second line use, basically. So what do you guys think? That handle is surprisingly comfortable. And the way they molded it is great because there's no hot spots on it. There's just no hot spots on it, and you get some good grip. And that's a nice feature that you don't like. There's a lot of more expensive, fancier knives, machetes, blades, where I've said like, oh man, I'd have to sand down the edges to get a nice rounded shape. But what do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts on the world of Warcraft? I'm curious. I'm curious because this could go a lot of ways. Now, I think I saw that they have a 3V version. I mean, when I was searching, what came up was the Warcraft 3V. I don't know if that's out there or if it was just something people might have been searching for. If they had one of these in 3V, I mean, you know, with maybe some better materials there, that would be something. I still would not be a huge fan of the Tanto, but that would be a piece to be reckoned with, you know? But what are your guys' thoughts? What are you thinking? Did anything that I said today, a little bit medicated up and exhausted and hating the VA, just make no sense? Or what do you guys think? So anyway, I really love having the conversations and seeing what everybody's opinion is in the comment section, because a lot of times you guys key me into things I didn't think of, or maybe I should have said but I didn't and I just forgot to mention it, or sends me in a new path of researching and I discover something new that I just didn't even know about. So your comments are really important to me. It really matters. So thanks for being here for this unboxing. Really curious what the reception on this guy's gonna be. And remember that you are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I will be back again real soon.